Hi. I'm in Perth today under this tree. And well, there were here at this Perth park. There were birds that were perfectly fine flying around and saying tweet tweet. They were perfectly fine being left alone, and they were perfectly fine. They were all walking up to me. I think they can sense. Whoa. So trying to keep this Osmo still. Hi. In today's episode of Australia's Downfall, I was at Mass this morning. That was incredible. I'd like to do a separate video about that because that was beautiful and amazing. The second time going to Mass, it was amazing. I do have a lot of Australia insanity, far left nonsense to rant about, so let's go. First of all, in today's episode of Australia's Downfall, why is it so hard for foreign migrants, Asian or whatever, to understand that they are what I would call temporary visitors, temporary invaders that none of us actually want here, and no one asked for, and we know why they're here, because Albo promised that rolled out the migrants, and there's too dumb to think socialists got on board, and they want to replace us because white people are bad, and they know and Albo and the far left cult, they know that they can't win without they can't win if they just have the Aussie Patriot crowd. They can't win, so they have to so Albo has to import their voters so that they can win. That's basically what they're doing, in my opinion. But even then, even if that's correct, and that's why they're here, to wreck the country, because it's definitely not improving it, why is it so hard for these unwanted, unwelcome foreign migrants that no one had any say in them coming here? Why is it so hard for them to learn that I don't care whatever freaking reason you're here, it's probably bullshit anyway, but whatever that reason is, and despite the total bullshit that you've been fed from Albo's lies and the bullshit that he shoved up your ass to believe in, which resulted in you being here. And yes, how many times that the socialists actually claim to care about you? They're really about wrecking this country that they too are in, which makes no sense. All that aside, you do actually have to assimilate and learn and speak English if you're in fucking public. Why is that so impossible for these migrants to get through their heads? I was on a bus this morning, and I may as well have been in Bangkok or China or some Asian country, because it was ridiculous. There's a lot of Asian looking women with kids. I'm like, I'm not against them being with the kids, or I'm not against having I'm not anti them having kids on a train, but I am against them not speaking to the kid in English in an English speaking country, and me not having any say in you coming here to begin with. And we all know that these countries, these foreign non-English speaking countries, if me or any Aussie Patriot or any English-speaking patriot went there, they would expect us to learn their language, but they can't show us the same decency back. It's ridiculous and insane, and it's wrecking this country. And I'm done with the one-sided respect bullshit. They demand, and by law, we are obligated by law now because of fucking hate speech laws. Because how dare us? How dare we hurt the snowflake migrants' feelings? Because a snowflake migrant has feelings. Yeah, well, what about what about the feelings of the Aussie patriots who love this country and want it to stay the traditional great land that it used to be, that's now dead? It's unbelievable. So I don't know why it's so hard for these migrants to know that just because you're here, that doesn't make you one of us. Just because you are physically standing in Australia or in Perth, that doesn't make you an Australian or one of us. You're just temporarily here until one nation gets in and sends you back home, which is where you belong in the first place. If you can't even have the decency to learn English and use it in public, then why the hell are you here? Like, what's the point? Yes. Us Aussies can't, and the Aboriginals are freaking homeless and struggling right now. And you expect us to house your foreign non-English speaking ass? Get the fuck out of here. Who the hell do you think you are to think you're more important than us? Screw you. How much of Albo's bullshit have you taken to believe? Yes. So that's stupid. And in South Australia today, because our retarded far-left government is more concerned about protecting the feelings of the lefty snowflakes than actually admitting a fact and truth, because a fact is a fact and doesn't care what you think of it. But snowflakes can't handle facts, so we got to create this imaginary world of lies and bullshit and confusion because snowflakes can't handle a fact. It's fucking insane. I'm fed up with this whole, the truth offends me, so I'm going to create my own truth. I'm like, no, there's no such thing as your truth. Biological fact is biological fact, truth. You can't just put on a dress or walk into some bullshit government centre, sign a piece of paper that is totally bullshit, and claim that you're a woman, and then expect me to respect that as fact and truth and a legitimate lawful choice. I don't give a shit what the bullshit law says. You're not a woman if you just put on a dress, or if you tick a box on some stupid piece of paper. It's not fucking, you're not a woman. I reckon almost 70 or 80%. As a Christian, I don't really think, and a Catholic, I'm learning about the Catholic faith at the moment, I don't really think that trans is real, or that God even takes. I think the trans people, to be really honest, are one of the most arrogant, selfish people on the planet, because they're kind of saying that God made a mistake. Like, you were born one way and you're saying that God made a mistake. Like, who the hell are you to claim that you know better than good? How do you know who you should have been? How you and others are supposed to be, like, more than God, right? You're so knowledgeable. You're so high and rich on knowledge that when God created you and you were born, you know better about how how your birth should have gone and what you should have been born as more than God. Is that what you're saying? Because I think that is one of the most arrogant statements any human can possibly make. Who are you to know? Who are you to say that you know better? Who the hell are you to say that you know better than how God made you? Like, that's really arrogant to say that, actually. And I think it's a cult, because it's a cult to make Pig Farmer a lot of money. And I've done a lot of research into trans organisations in Australia, and I plan to keep going with it. Every single trans organisation that I have looked into are all about affirming. And I don't think affirming is the answer. I really don't. I don't think it's the answer. I think it's the answer if you want to make Pig Farmer a ton of cash. But to the actual true care, if you really care about the mental and physical well-being of any human, especially young kids, especially anyone under the age of 18, it should not be done. No trans medical intervention should be done with kids. That's just creepy, faddish, pedo-y crap. But even if you're over 18, who the hell are you to say that you know who are you to say that you know how you should be born more than God? I mean, you don't have the authority to claim that. You really don't. But today, because our government does tell you that God doesn't exist while acting like them, while acting like God, because they want to have the power. They hate God, but they'll tell you that they behave a lot like Him. I mean, they behave like they have all the power and they're right, and everyone. It's insane. Because our government's full of Pig Farmer, because the Australian government is full of retard, lying cowards that are so entrenched with Big Pharma. There are still free vaccine posters everywhere of the train station. Today is South Australia. Sal Grover, who, if you're not Australian watching this, Sal Grover ended up in court because of the snowflake trans cult who can't handle a fact because their feelings matter more than truth. Sal Grover created an app, a very brave woman. Sal Grover created a real woman's social media app, and called Giggle, and then a trans confused person, a man, a trans man, sued her and attacked her and got her and sued her and trapped her in a bullshit court case. And again, because our government is full of, and the judges in this country and the courts are full of cowards who treasure protecting people, who care more about protecting snowflake lefty feelings rather than a fact. Sal Grover lost that case, Sal Grover's been put through hell because Sal Grover bravely admits that a woman is a woman and a man is a man, and God does not make mistakes. And she's tried to create an app for real women and stand up for real women, and you can't do that anymore because we live in a far left cult that is more about supporting a transgender's feelings more than truth. Today, though, it has come out that the one time that Australia did actually try to have a woman Prime Minister was an absolutely terrible, horrible, freedom-killing, safe space-killing mistake, because Julia Gillard, the coward, is a woman, but also seems to not know what a woman is, and doesn't seem to know that a woman needs her own private spaces, especially in the bathroom and in sports. So we didn't know this at the time, they quietly sneaked this through. Julia Gillard, who's not a friend to women at all while pretending that she is, she put through a Sex Discrimination Act that legally allows a confused, creepy man to invade a woman's supposed to be private spaces, like bathroom and sports and all this bullshit. So we've been protesting about that in different areas of the country, and today Sal Grover was going to attend a march about this issue, about that trans men do not belong in women's spaces, which should be a common sense idea, and it feels like Australia has derailed 10 or 20 years, and we can't decide what the hell a woman is anymore, and therefore, and now every single clothing store can't either doesn't know what a real woman size is anymore, and it's insane. No one knows. Common sense is dead. Democracy is dead. Nuance is dead, because you can't have that anymore. You can't think. Here's a question. If human beings were not made to think, just like the socialists and the left, they don't want us to think, because if we use the brains God gave us to think, then we would be able to easily come to the conclusion that the lefties are wrong. But they don't want us to think. But if you don't want us to think, then why did God give us a brain? Why do people have brains if we weren't meant to think? I think we were created to think. It's just that people care. Again, I keep seeing people here wearing COVID masks, and there is no easier way for you to tell me your IQ is low than wearing a COVID mask in 2026. We are in a low IQ crisis, and the real pandemic is cowardice. And unfortunately, there's no vaccine, apparently, that can fix cowardice. So I don't know what the cure is, but we are in a pandemic of cowardice, and right now I am over it. So Sal Grover got death threats from this only feelings matter, deny truth trans cult, and she has pulled out of attending the rally. Thank God the protests still happened. But Sal Grover was not allowed to attend the very protest about the cause which she about her court case. It's like Australia is so upside down, and so upside down we can't even protest about what the hell a woman is and that a woman deserves a safe space anymore, because again, feelings matter more than truth, and God forbid anyone get their little feelings hurt. I'm sorry, I don't give a crap if truth if truth hurts your emotions, that should be nobody else's problem but yours. Do not make, just because truth hurts, that doesn't mean that the main truth is still, that doesn't make a fact wrong. That just makes you wrong. So you sit with yourself, right? Talk to God, read the Bible, and you will realize why God created man and women and why they're actually supposed to go together. But sometimes women need their own spaces to be alone. And if you don't have cramps every month, you're not a woman. And I can't even believe I even have to say that in 2026, but apparently this is how upside down Australia is. That now, just me saying that is called controversial, because we can't say truth anymore, because again, protecting snowflakes' little hurt emotions is more important in a far left dystopia than actual fact. So that's stupid. So yes, Sal Grover, again, is getting death threats for attending a protest about keeping creepy men out of women's spaces. Even though it was her court case that inspired the protest to exist in the first place. We're so upside down. Oh yeah, I just read on X that hang on. This charger. I'm just going to take this charger out of my phone. Here we go. Ah, okay. Right, I'm back. Okay. Right. I read earlier that because the Victorian government are such a bunch of corrupt idiots that don't know what the F they're doing, and they are desperate to try to win back the voter base that they have lost, rightfully, because they wrecked the country with migrants and corruption. They have come out and said that, oh, we know how to get our votes. We'll make dental care free, which again is stupid. We all know what it means when the government says that anything is free. Nothing is free. I'm on a fucking disability pension, and I fucking know that nothing is free. He means the taxpayers will pay for it, and I bet you about 50% that the migrants will take full advantage of that. I would actually like to see an honest printout of the number of migrants that take advantage of. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to keep this Osmo still. Sorry about that. Yeah, I wonder how many foreign migrants that should not be here in the first place do take advantage of this free dental care because it's been paid for by the freaking taxpayers. That's disgusting. That is actually, them saying that is an insult to our intelligence, because the Australian people who are awake and love this country should be in court daily, suing the Australian far left government every day for the total insult to our intelligence that they do every single day. But unfortunately we don't have the financial means to do so, and it would mean we would do nothing else. So yes, we all know what the word free means. When the government says free, we all know what that means. And also, lastly, I read on X that the Australian digital ID law has passed, to the shock of no one, with no democracy and no votes on it at all. I've seen some people try to protest about it, but it has gone through apparently. And it's interesting because it's another sign that the Aussie government anti-domestic violence posters at the Perth train station are total bullshit, because it seems to me like they're saying, oh, it's bad when men abuse women, but it's okay if we do it. Like they said, one of the posters says tracking their every move is coercive control, but it's perfectly fine for the government to bring in to make digital ID lawful and then track our every move with that, and because it's the government doing it, it's apparently fine according to them. No, it's not fucking fine. The government is using digital ID to do the very thing that the anti-train station domestic violence poster says is wrong. So it's either wrong with everyone, including the government, or it's fucking not. You can't have it both fucking ways. You collective lying corrupt assholes. And you're importing and allowing people from cultures where abusing a woman is actually normal, and you're inviting them here, even though the countries these men come from are on the do not travel list for us, but it's perfectly fine for them to come here. That is the unbelievable bullshit state of Australia, and it's tragic and sad. Yeah, these foreign countries where treating a woman badly is normal is on a don't travel list for us, but it's fine for them to come here. I don't fucking agree with that. I don't think so. If your country is on our do not travel list for us, it would be the most retarded thing ever to invite their people here, but that's what we're doing because Albo, the self-white-hating coward, is so obsessed with keeping up the gravy train of his job up that he is willing to risk the lives and safety of not only women in general, but the Australian people who still, to our painful detriment, still love this country, for a vote. He only cares about winning votes with other stupid people who are just as dumb as he is, and yeah. And to see that the WA socialists now have enough funds to actually have a north and south branch, and they're actually branching out to buildings to discuss their ideas. That should have everyone worried. In fact, next Sunday, the country is marching for free speech, because we definitely do not have that. And we don't have that, but we have the illusion of it, but we don't actually have it. No, we don't have that. And it's actually the same day as the free speech march in Perth. The socialists are having their north branch catch up. So that's interesting that those two events happen on the same day. I feel so much temptation to go to these socialist catch-ups or these meetings and just roast them and tell them that they're wrong. But as I learnt from the anti-Pauline protest, that these people are not interested in any ideas but their stupid own, and they're just, my brain hurts enough just searching their website, because the socialist website, right, they'll go I have so much writing on there saying business politics is bad, capitalism is evil, but then they'd ask you for very high amounts of money as donations to keep their bullshit party going on. So that is enough to hurt my brain. So I think actually me going to where they meet would probably hurt my brain even more, but it's unbelievable, and I'm fed up with the blinded bullshit hypocrisy of lying cunts and cowards that just want to wreck this country and are in it for their own gain, and we need Pauline Hanson in charge now. Alright, there's my little rant for today. Thank you for watching, everybody.